Hello, can you tell us a bit more about yourself and your art practice?
Hi, everyone. My name is Oksana Kryzhanivska. I am an interdisciplinary artist focusing mainly on the digital and interactive arts. However, my background is coming from a more traditional art practice. For example, I started out with painting, drawing, and sculpture such as bronze casting and stone carving. And then over the years, when I was studying arts in my master's degree, that's when I became very interested actually in the digital aspect and just thinking about what it means to make sculpture in the digital realm. So what does it mean to have digital objects as sculptural objects? And that kind of pushed me to discover more and more of the interactive aspects of art. And I started learning how to code. So I incorporated coding such as JavaScript and some of the game engine coding, scripting languages into my art. And I also treat these tools as part of my art practice. Another kind of interesting thing for me was over the last couple of years is really to learn to think about my art not as individual works, but as a continuous practice. And in that sense, I can see all of these different techniques and materials combine not as a project, but more as a continuous discovery.
Thank you, Oksana. And how does it feel being involved in this kind of residency, virtual one?
Well, I was actually interested in the virtual residencies for several reasons. One of that is because I am located abroad and I don't have an easy way to travel right now since I'm in China. And the borders are still kind of in an intermediate state and where most of the world keeps reopening, but China is still trying to maintain some policies. So that's why I was really interested in doing the virtual residency, but also another thing is I did a real life residency previously, and I did it with a interactive art focused residency in the US. That was really nice because you can really interact with people. But on the other hand, I do have my studio actually as a desktop computer. My entire studio right now is a bunch of gadgets, and it's quite difficult sometimes to bring them to the residencies and or finding residencies that have the facility that's not just an art studio, but also have all these electronics. It's actually quite difficult. So in that sense, I was interested in the residency part as the community of artists that discover certain topics. And also I noticed that for the virtual residencies, a lot of artists are actually interested in the digital works. So for someone like me, it's a little bit easier to find people who speak the same language in the arts and at least are interested in the digital presentation and the final product that is not necessarily a physical object. So that's one of the things. But I also was part of a Ukrainian art residency that was online, unfortunately got interrupted with the current events with the war in Ukraine. And through the curator of that residency, I actually found out about Belgrade's online residency and heard really good things about it. So when I saw that there's this thematic residency call, I decided to apply because I felt like it would be very thoughtful for me as a process to go through the residency to create the artwork on the topic like this.
And can you tell us actually a bit more about the theme of the residency and what will your project be about?
Well, the theme of the residency is conflict, art, peace. And I think what drew me to this theme was just the question of what can artists do in this situation, right? So we do have different kinds of conflicts constantly in the world, and during this time, because of my Ukrainian heritage and roots, I did grow up in Ukraine until I went to the university, where I lived in the West, in the Western countries after that. But because of that, I was immediately responding to the topic already. And I was also thinking these questions. And I think that's something that I really enjoy from this residency right now, is that there are European artists and international artists in this group, and everyone is asking this question: what can we do? And then we can come together and we can actually think about that together. What is the role of the artist? And I wanted to find, or at least start looking for an answer for myself through this interaction with these fellow artists and with the residency coordinator. So when I responded to this call, I just kind of envisioned to continue the kind of work I was doing just before the residency, where I did some things that are maybe a little bit on a political spectrum. But I think after talking with the fellow artists, something came up that it makes me feel that it's important for an artist to respond from a personal standpoint and maybe document the events or document the feelings that we experience. And maybe through these feelings that we show as artists, maybe the public who are going to be experiencing the final artwork, they will be able to easier relive these feelings, or maybe they will feel that there's someone else who's connecting to them with a similar kind of feelings. And also maybe there's a way to create this artwork sort of open-ended in a way that the viewer, the audience, that they maybe will be able to get some of themselves into the artwork, projecting their own experiences. And I know that I'm talking a little bit abstract right now, but if I can tell you a little bit of my project, maybe it will make more sense. So the project that I'm thinking about is going to take shape of an online virtual exhibition. So a 3D interactive environment hosted online in an online gallery. And what I'm thinking to work with, and I started working with, is the concept of memory and crystallizing of the memory. So I'm taking some of the images from my memory, and when the memory is deconstructed and the memory is fluent, so it keeps constantly changing. So I'm taking the snapshots of this memory and building these crystal-like structures where the audience can come into them through their browser and experience them and interact with them.
What about future plans? Any projects, exhibitions? Is it possible to plan nowadays?
Well, we do plan and we do apply, right? So that's kind of the way the artist's life works. So actually, currently, I do have several projects going on that are ongoing, because I'm also, since I'm a researcher at the university, so I constantly have more official kind of projects happening. So one of my projects, which the work that I'm creating for this residency is part of it, is called Synaptic Multiverse. And it's about experiencing art as a public art in Web3, meaning that it includes experiencing something through a web browser or virtual reality headset or augmented reality. So this project is ongoing, and I am building an app for this that I'm hoping to publish by the end of the year. And it's a slightly different topic, but also connected. It's about making sense of the place. So when you're projecting your own feelings or thoughts or metaphors. So I'm working with the metaphors of the mother, of the roots, of oneself, and then placing them in the real environment through the augmented reality. And then I also have currently 2 exhibitions coming up, and one will be in September, October here in the city where I live in Zhuhai. And that's actually with the local artists, and I find that a very exciting opportunity for me because I'm not a very good Chinese speaker. And we have a group of 3 Chinese artists who are local from Zhuhai, and another a Chinese American artist exhibiting in the same time. So it will be a very great event to put on. I'm also part of a contemporary art fair in Shenzhen in July, and there's another exhibition that is lining up maybe in the beginning of next year. So, it does take planning and this does take work. And for these physical exhibitions, I do have to make physical artwork from my digital work. So yes, lots to come.
Good luck with everything, and thank you,
Thank you.
Oksana.
Yes.